My name is Raja Shazif Khan and you are watching Zeenia Satti. So, there is now all-out war in Israel and Palestine. And this is not something that we've seen for a long time. For many decades there have been sporadic outbreaks and also prolonged outbreaks of violence between Israelis and Palestinians that involved insurgent groups operating within Palestine. Before that, there were three wars between Israel and several other nation states of the Arab world. The last one was in 1973, the Yom Kippur War. Incidentally, the attack by Hamas that started the current war took place the day after the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, which also involved a surprise attack on Israel launched by Egypt and Syria. It seems very much that Hamas chose now to launch the attack on Israel in order to commemorate the semi-centenary of the last time the Arab world made a determined strike against Israel. Now the fact that they did it the day after, not on October 6th, which was the 100th anniversary of the launch of the Yom Kippur War, but rather on October 7th, that may be a genius move because Israel will probably be on guard when the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War passes. It might assume that there could be a commemorative assault. So if Hamas waits the next day, then by then Israel would have let down whatever guard it might possibly have kept during October 6th. But there's so many other reasons why Hamas would have chosen now to launch this remarkable assault which has ignited the current war. And it is truly a strike that's unlike anything we've seen recently. It's extraordinary because this is a low-level insurgent group operating in Gaza, which is basically a gigantic slum. There is very little there. Hamas is not a well-equipped insurgent organization in any way, not a major paramilitary group at all, but still launched a coordinated assault by land, air, sea and missile on Israel all at once within the span of a few hours, and it has inflicted the most damage on Israel since 1973. And among the many reasons that this assault happened now, one of them is that this is a time of political chaos in Israel. Many Israelis are upset with the current government of Netanyahu, including over what these moves regarding the Supreme Court. The discontent has gone so bad that in the past few months, hundreds of IDF, Israeli Defense Force reservists, actually refused to show up for training exercises because of their discontent with the policies of the Netanyahu government. So Hamas would probably consider this a vulnerable time for Israel and therefore the right time to strike. Hamas also says that its operation, which they dubbed Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, was triggered by what happened in the last few weeks when Israeli Jewish worshippers came to the Al-Aqsa Mosque to pray, circumventing a ban on anybody except Muslims coming there to pray. However, an attack like what Hamas did is so big and could have only been done with so much planning and coordination that it had to have been several months and years in the making, which means that the recent incidents regarding the Al-Aqsa Mosque could not have been the sole reason that this attack happened. There's also the possibility that Hamas kept its forces ready, made arrangements for this attack a long time ago and just kept this arrangement in place, waiting for the right moment to strike, and considered the Al-Aqsa incidents to be that moment, but I also think that's unlikely because Israel's intelligence agencies would have uncovered those arrangements if they had been there for such a long time. So this is basically a big mystery how this remarkable attack could have emerged and how Israel's intelligence agency, the Mossad, considered one of the finest in the world, could have missed it. And also finally, one more reason for this timing, this is October 7th was a Jewish holiday that also took place with the Saturday, which is Jewish Sabbath. So that was a time when Israel would have been preoccupied with celebration and were taking the day off. So that would also another reason for Hamas to choose this day. But anyway, it is remarkable that a group like Hamas could have done basically a sudden unexpected strike. It is certainly going to be a game changer for the region because it is the first time Hamas has, and really any group like it has shown that it is capable of such a thing. This is something that you'd expect only big nation states to do. Two of the biggest examples are Nazi Germany's launch of Operation Barbarossa, which is the assault on the Soviet Union, which was completely unexpected. It involved a tremendous planning and the mobilization of millions of troops, and previously the Soviet Union was on good terms with Germany up until the day that the German forces rolled in. And the other is Japan's assault on Pearl Harbor, an unexpected strike against America that started the war in the Pacific. Japan and Germany, these are big nation states with governments that could make big arrangements and keep them all secret. This is not something you'd expect Hamas to do, but there is a historical precedent for that also, which is the Tet Offensive during the Vietnam War. It happened in January 1968 during the Tet holiday in Vietnam, again another parallel to Hamas launching its attack during the Jewish holiday in Israel and during Sabbath. And during the Tet Offensive, the Viet Cong, which were a completely unorganized militant insurgent group, just like Hamas, they launched a coordinated wave of assaults on cities all across South Vietnam without much help from the North Vietnamese military, which at the time was just keeping the Americans distracted, preoccupied at the Battle of Khe Sanh. And this was a complete surprise to the world that the Viet Cong were capable of doing such a thing. It caught the Americans and its allied militaries completely off guard. They were never expecting that so much bad combat could be coming to the cities of South Vietnam all at once. Previously there was only sporadic violence, like a constant stream of suicide bombings here and there against American soldiers in bars and other such places. But the Viet Cong managed to do such a thing, and it was a tactical defeat for them. They were in fact wiped out by the Americans. Many people don't know that, but it was a strategic victory because it made the American people, the public, tired of the war. It was a sign to them that the war could not be won. And even though the Viet Cong was mostly gone, it created an opportunity for the North Vietnamese military to step up to the front, and that allowed them to ultimately win the war in 1975. So Hamas's October 7th assault is a lot like the Tet Offensive. I don't know if it had the same strategic objectives. I've read that the people who launched the Tet Offensive, they thought they were going to win tactically, and they were surprised that they were defeated, and also surprised that they won in the arena of the American hearts and minds, making the American public sick of the war. So what's Hamas's goal? It seems Hamas's objectives are probably very different because this is a different situation. Hamas probably wants to ignite a larger war of Arabs against Israelis, because this is still a small, what they did on October 7th is still a small assault on Israel that did very little material damage, but it but they probably intended it to be a big strike to the morale of Israel, that after several decades of keeping violence against Israelis mostly under control with only simmering waves of violence at times, that Palestinians are capable of striking Israel really, really hard. And by launching the strike, Hamas probably hopes that it will inspire others to join in, and this will start a mounting escalation of attacks against Israel and stirring up the pot in this region. And perhaps they're right that this will be the effect. This is now day 3 or 4 of the war. It's October 11th now, so day 4 of the war, and the war is still in full swing. There's massive Israeli bombardment of Gaza, and there seems to be a lot of incidents happening all along, including incursions from Lebanon and other places like that. So it seems this region will be in for the long haul. It'll be in this war for the long haul, and that there will likely be further destabilization. It's all part of this global climate of increasing instability and increasing violence, like the war in Ukraine or the coups in Sahel. And perhaps what Hamas did was just part of that climate of destabilization of the world order and coming of a new world order. So Hamas has probably thought it was just joining in on this, and that it's now unlikely that Israel's allies would come to Israel's help as much as they would have been able to in the past. So this definitely signals the coming of change for the region. The Palestine-Israel conflict will probably enter into a new chapter it's not been in before, because the October 7th assault is like nothing that's ever happened in this long history of Israeli-Arab conflict. There have been simmering uprisings, low-level uprisings of Palestinians, and there have been attacks by Arab states, but never an attack like this by a low-level insurgent group like Hamas. So that's it for today. There will be more content on this channel about this very important conflict. Please like and subscribe so you can stay up to date. Thank you.